and a very warm welcome to a brand new edition of To The Point with me, Frank Pereira, on Rajya Sabha Television. My guest on the show today is a very senior judge. He is a retired judge of the Delhi High Court. It's a pleasure to welcome on the program Mr. R S Sodhi. Justice Sodhi, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. Let's first talk about something that has been making headlines once again over the last few days. Of course, it's the case related to the 1993 bomb blast. The Supreme Court has not granted Yaqub Memon any kind of relief. I want to hear your take on the entire case.
You see, as far as this particular case is concerned, it's taken about 22 years for it to be finally decided. 22 years is a lot of time. This person has spent a lifetime, and now you're asking for his life itself. There is a little bit of unfairness in it. Now, see, it's just like normally you take interest on your capital. Here today, now you're withdrawing the capital as well. You enjoyed the 20 years interest. Now, see, during this time, you will the effectiveness of the sentence has been diluted to such an extent that today you have political parties in his favor, you have religious parties in their favor, you have activists in his favor, and you may have so many other soft thinking people in his favor. But I should feel, and I feel that once a sentence for death has been pronounced or announced, execution of the same must be as swiftly as possible. Only then is the sentence effective. Otherwise, the sentence has lost its meaning, and once it loses efficacy, it's just a question of killing a man.
He's approached the governor of Maharashtra as a last resort to get some kind of relief. What powers does the governor of Maharashtra really have in this particular case?
See, now looking at the scenario of the whole thing, he's already been to the governor once. He's already been to the president. Must have been to the president. Has come to the Supreme Court. Has come up in a review, and now there and some other petitions also which can further review him. He must have done all that, and now going back to the governor, I don't think he has got much of a chance. But then miracles are always there.
Will he still be hanged on July 30th, or do you see that not happening at the moment, and maybe an extension is going to be sought for that?
In this country, it's very difficult to predict. Anything can happen at any time overnight. That's the excitement of this country. There is no system. There is no authenticity that this is bound to happen. It's only in the IPC that it says, if you kill, you will get life for this thing or death. But it doesn't say thou shalt not kill. So in this country, anything can happen. Let's see what the governor does. He has his own powers. Let's see what he does.
1993 is when the blast took place. A Mumbai Tada court pronounced the verdict in 2006. 2015, Yaqub Memon is still alive. He still hasn't been hanged. Justice delayed is justice denied. We need to speed up the entire process, isn't it?
Justice delayed is justice denied, no doubt. Therefore, what you are implying is, and what I am also saying so, is that Yaqub has just not got justice, and justice has just not been done. Merely killing a man is not justice. Where is justice after 22 years? It's finished. Similarly, I also read somewhere that we should hang ourselves, hang our heads in shame because of these kind of things. Yeah, we should. We've got over a lack of under trials in jail, and nobody's bothered. What kind of a judiciary are we running? We are supposed to be the guardians of the fundamental rights of these people, of all people, which also include liberty. But we are so lackadaisical in our approach of giving bail. Why are we keeping so many people in jail? And mind you, most of them who are in jail will be the underprivileged.
Indeed.
And that again, we must again hang our head in shame.
Talking about the underprivileged, there was a study conducted by the National Law University, an article of which was carried out in the Times of India on Tuesday, Now, the article very clearly said, or the study very clearly stated, that of the 1,600 and odd people who have put on the, death row, only 5% of them have been carried out ultimately by the Supreme Court. So why have the death penalty in the first place?
That's a very good question. Yes, why have it at all if you can't execute your sentences? If you why give this this sentence if it can't be executed? If only 5% is what has been implemented, the orders, I think you don't need a sentence of this sort. And especially if it takes 22 years to implement a sentence of death, you're taking too much of your pound of flesh.
Should we do away with it completely? What's your take on it?
We have to do away with it for the reason that we are incapable of executing it. Although the system is not yet ripe to do away with it, but we do not have the wherewith to execute them.
Okay. The same study also stated that 3/4 of those who have been sentenced to death actually belong to the lower income groups and minorities and underprivileged. So isn't that alarming? Doesn't that state something else, that these people do not really have access to good legal aid?
It's been divided into various compartments. For example, if you say an underprivileged person, I would say is the person who can't afford a good team to defend him. That may be one. But when you talk about the minority, or you talk about any of that, that will have a very different connotation. But what I feel is that when the first court deals with a particular material before it, it ordinarily arrives at a conclusion which is dehors of the person's ability to engage a better lawyer or things like that. It is only thereafter, when they start climbing the ladder, it is those ladders that become difficult. Those steps become very difficult to climb for anybody who is not strong enough. And in our present system, the strength lies only in money. There is no other way you can climb that step if you do not have the money. The strength is money, and by the time you reach the faint-hearted in the Supreme Court, only the rich man gets over there. And of course, the benevolent heart of gold gives justice.
What corrective measures do you see, that we need to take to ensure that this does not happen going forward?
Corrective measures are really that if you have a system of appeals or whatever they are, then it must be even-handedly ensured that even the good lawyers are duty-bound to perform certain amount of this free work, if they, as one may call it. Of course, they won't, but they should. And legal aid, which we are so proud of, and which the government must have spent crores of rupees on that. That legal aid is, to my mind, a farce. If it were there, then this question would never have been asked, and this situation would never have been required to be addressed, that the poor don't get justice and the rich get justice. If the legal aid were effective, the legal aid is not effective, and the rich lawyers, or the lawyers of the rich, are not prepared to give sufficient time to the underprivileged, and therefore the system will continue. And who cares about anybody who can't reach the Supreme Court?
Indeed. Let's talk about another issue, another pressing issue as far as the judiciary in India is concerned, the issue of pendency of cases. There are about 2.4 crore pending cases across courts in this particular country. Now, how do we do away with these cases? Because it is a major problem, isn't it?
It is a major problem in itself. The problem is so alarming that the judiciary, under its own weight, is collapsing. And its collapse is inevitable. It cannot deliver anymore. The consequences will be that there will be chaos in administration of justice, and the very faith of the common man would not be there, and therefore you may not have a judicial system at all. The reason why we have so much of pendency is obviously because we are not able to deliver what we should have done. We are not able to churn out that many judgments, or the filing is far larger than the output. This is the result. The consequence is, of course, I've already said, but the result is that people have lost faith in the administration of the government. They have no faith in them. The government is the biggest litigant in the court. Now, if people lose faith in them, the only recourse is available is the court. Now, there is no mechanism to bring any accountability into government working. If a case is brought to the court and the government does not succeed, the taxpayers' crores of rupees are lost and nobody is held accountable.
Indeed.
The person who went to court has also lost a lot, except for the satisfaction that he may have won the case, has really got nothing. Because after 20 years, 30 years, if he does win a case, where is the efficacy of law? It's finished. He doesn't want it. He's probably on his deathbed or is too old to even enjoy that.
Indeed.
So therefore, we are in trouble. We are very, very serious trouble.
Indeed, we are in serious trouble. We need to ensure that the judicial system, of course, speeds up a little bit so that the timely justice can be delivered. On that note, we'll slip into a short break now, but we'll continue talking to Justice Sodhi on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television in conversation with Justice R S Sodhi. Justice Sodhi, let's talk about Arvind Kejriwal and the entire tussle that he's had with the centre. It's just hardly a few months that he's taken over as the Chief Minister, and already there are several signs that show that both the centre and the Delhi state government cannot get along and cannot go along. So, how do you see this issue, and do you think it's right for the central government to interfere in the functioning of a popularly elected government here in Delhi?
See, the question over here, whether Kejriwal is right or whether the central government is right, is primarily of interpretation of the constitutional powers. Delhi is not a state. It is actually, in all words, it's actually a union territory, but it's kind of a semi-state. Now, there are certain powers which Kejriwal just doesn't have, and there are certain powers which Kejriwal has. Now, surely he knew that before fighting elections. And if he did not know that, he was just ignorant, that's all. But, I would have appreciated that had he continued to work in the powers he had and show us something credible and good, and then fight for powers he did not have. That is understandable. But is it possible for the central government to hand over powers to somebody merely because he's elected? Everybody is elected. Even a the corporation is elected. If the corporation can't say, give me police, corporation can't say, give me land, or I want to transfer my IAS people wherever I like, it can't say that. So even this man can't say it. But however, he's a good fighter. I like him fighting, and he keeps the center on the toes. Very good. But I would appreciate him working within his own framework. Please do that work and do it well, and I'm sure people will appreciate your fighting for more powers is always there, but the existing powers must be used judiciously and well, and with more maturity. That's all.
Talking about handing over of power, it's not as merely as simple as just handing over power, is it? Because a constitutional amendment is required even to hand over power. This is something that many people do not understand.
See, when I talk of handing over power, I was being oversimplistic. No, you can't hand over power because you can't abdicate your power, firstly. If it's a central power, the center cannot abdicate it. It is there by the constitution or by rules, whatever they may be, but those have to be amended, and only the parliament can do so. And if the parliament feels the necessity, certainly make it a full state. But I don't know of any other capital of the country which is a full state with somebody else. But however, India is always a unique country and it has a unique experiences. We may very well be able to deal with a capital state.
Another 4 odd years to go for the state to deal with this entire issue. Do you see more issues cropping up in the near future?
Oh yes, the excitement will become more and more because unless, like I said, Mr. Kejriwal delivers within the powers he has, which I find it difficult, these tantrums are going to go on.
Let's come back to the law now and talk about something that's very, very crucial. That is the NJSC and the collegium system. What is your opinion of the collegium system? Because I know that you believe that the collegium system must go. Why do you think the collegium system must go?
You say the constitution does not provide for this collegium system at all. It were the judges themselves that usurped to themselves a power which was not there in the constitution. Now, having violated the constitution by a judicial authority themselves, they did try and improve the judicial system, as it were. But over the years, what I have noticed is that it has become bad. It has become so bad that people are losing, or at least I've lost lost faith in it. You just can't have your own cousins and sisters and brothers made judges. This can't be an elite society of your own. It just doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's not the Gymkhana club where you only have a particular membership. You have to give it open to the people. People of caliber must be brought in, and there must be a system of measuring that caliber. The system no longer requires a gentleman judge only. He doesn't require a jack of all trade anymore. Now the system requires masters of their fields, and you must get those people inside, and you must have people of integrity and known integrity. No, I'm not saying that I have seen anybody's integrity is doubtful, but yes, I have seen a lot. I have heard and seen a lot of smoke. No fire though. Smoke, yes. There should be no smoke in the judiciary as far as I am concerned. But collegium system has not been able to give us any good, solid judge, including myself.
But then this entire tussle between the government and the judiciary about, how you go about appointing judges, it's still in limbo at the moment. What kind of a solution do you see? Do you see it? Is there a solution in sight?
The solution has already been given by the parliament. They have this commission. The only thing is now little bit of tussle is on who gives up how much power. No one wants to give up power. But what has to be seen is not power. What must be seen is how best you can deliver a better judicial system, how best we can appoint judges on merit and judges according to some criteria, not merely because I know the law minister or I know the chief justice, I become a judge. That should not be. It's unacceptable. Today's collegium system is not finding favor with either the bar, nor I think with the public. And
but even the National Judicial Appointments Commission has its own problems. For instance, it has a provision to appoint 2 prominent personalities among those who are going to choose the judges of higher courts. Now, who are these 2 prominent personalities, and how do you decide on prominent?
So these are semantics which they will have to solve. By rules, regulations, whatever they are, they will have to solve this. These are problems. Of course, they are problems. There were problems earlier. There were problems in the collegium system. There's a problem here also. But these problems have to be solved. You can't have a status quo. Judges have to be appointed now. Judiciary has to go on. But today it's a status quo. Nobody can appoint. Nobody can go on. And yet we all talk of areas and we talk of people in jail. Well, how do you get them out and how do you decide the areas which you don't have judges? You don't even have the present strength, let alone exceeding that strength and making more judges and do away with your areas. You don't even have present strength is not even there. So therefore, this system has to this problem has to be sorted out. The quicker it is sorted out, we will notice how whether it works rightly or wrongly, or it works better or not so good. Let it work, we'll find out. But you just can't throw the baby with the wash. That's not right.
Let the process start.
Let it start.
Let problems crop up along the way, and we'll deal with them then. We'll cross the bridge when we get there, is what you're saying.
Correct. That's it.
Okay. Let's move on now and talk about another issue that has been making headlines once again after many years, of course, that of the murderers of Rajiv Gandhi. Now, as far as the entire issue itself is concerned, do you believe that they should be set free? Is it a decision to be taken by the center or the state government?
It is the state power. The state can commute sentence. So can the president, so can the governor. But the power is there. Now the only thing is whether you are using this power judiciously or not. Now if it is said that the states are, though elected, but are incapable of exercising their mind in a judicious manner, I don't see how we can say say that the center is above that. After all, it is also elected. It also has its own pulls and pushes. How is there better brains in the center and less brains in the states? But then it all depends upon how you utilize power which is already with you. Today the Supreme Court is saying you don't have the power. Now, Supreme Court is always supreme. I never say anything against the Supreme Court. But I would certainly say, who is the Supreme Court to tell the state it has no power? It's a constitutional power as it has got, or a judicial power. Unless taken away, it has the power. You can examine case to case, but you can't take away the power. So that is you're swiping it too fast.
You're saying the center does not have should not interfere with the powers of remission that a state has.
Yes, of course. That's what federalism is all about. I mean, we have a federal system. No doubt the center is stronger, but the powers that be of the state must be exercised by the state.
But a crime of such a magnitude.
Now, see, then it is a crime. Then you take case to case. It's not that the power you can't exercise the power. Then you go on to case to case. Now every case has its own magnitude, as you said, and its own fallouts. Its own problems, unique problems, they can be. Like like in Mr. Gandhi's case, the assassins. Well, they seem to have so much of public sympathy that the government of the day is finding it difficult to hold them back. No, but that's a situation. Now that situation has come about obviously because of something other than merely because of this case. So I mean, it's always a case to case. These are things state governments will have to meet. Either you succumb to them, and then their judgments of their orders will be challenged, and then again the Supreme Court ultimately can decide whether it was rightly exercised, not so rightly exercised. But you cannot say it has no power.
Indeed.
It has power. But case to case you may decide otherwise.
So much to talk about, but so little time. Unfortunately, we've run out of time on this edition of the program. Thank you so much, Justice Sodhi, for being with us on Rajya Sabha Television. A pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
That's all the time we have on this edition of To The Point. See you again next time. Bye-bye.